See how people in the nation's capital are remembering the Boston Marathon bombing 1 year later. District Wire Sports starts right now. I'm Danielle DeCourcey.
And I'm Ryan Oliver. The NBA playoffs begin with a huge bang this weekend. The Wizards pulled out a close game in Chicago, and we have coaching changes in the association.
This morning, the New York Knicks fired head coach Mike Woodson and his entire staff. The Knicks missed the playoffs this season. Woodson's record was 109 and 79 in his 3 years with the team. Sources believe former Bulls guard Steve Kerr will be a strong candidate for the Knicks coaching vacancy. It will be interesting to see what impact this will have on Carmelo Anthony's decision to stay or go this summer. Minnesota Timberwolves head coach Rick Adelman is announcing his retirement after 23 seasons in the NBA. The team said he will remain with the franchise, but in a consultant role. Adelman has more than 1,000 wins over his long career. He coached the Portland Trail Blazers, the Sacramento Kings, the Golden State Warriors, and the Houston Rockets.
The Washington Wizards made their first playoff appearance since 2008 as they were in Chicago last night to take on the Bulls in Game 1 of a best-of-7 series. The Wiz were considered heavy underdogs entering the series but did not look the part last night as they downed the Bulls 102-93. Nene led the way down the stretch with a dominating performance, scoring 24 points and pulling down 8 boards. All-star point guard John Wall chipped in 16 points and 6 assists as well. Game 2 will be played in Chicago on Tuesday evening.
The Portland Trail Blazers are leading the series against the Houston Rockets. After last night's overtime win in Texas, LaMarcus Aldridge scored 46 points and grabbed 18 rebounds. Damian Lillard scored the game-winning free throw with 17 seconds left in overtime. Lillard finished with 31 points in his playoff debut. Portland just barely nabbed the 2-point win, 122-120. Game 2 will be played Wednesday night in Houston.
As expected, the Miami Heat eased past the Charlotte Bobcats 99-88 in Game 1 of their playoff opener on Sunday. LeBron James led the way for the defending champs, scoring 27 points and grabbing 9 rebounds. Kemba Walker was the high scorer for the Bobcats with 20 points. Game 2 of this series will be Wednesday night in Miami. And scary news for the Bobcats is their leading scorer, Al Jefferson, is reportedly in a walking boot after re-aggravating injury to his foot during Sunday's game. Jefferson is listed as day-to-day as the team awaits the results of an MRI on his foot.
Tim Duncan is once again throwing the Spurs on his back. Duncan scored 27 points and overcame an injury to lead his team to victory over the Dallas Mavericks. Down 10 with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the San Antonio Spurs scored 15 unanswered points to beat Dallas 90-85 in Game 1 of the series. Tony Parker played a strong supporting role with 21 points. Dallas Mavericks stars Dirk Nowitzki and Monta Ellis only scored a dismal 22 points combined. Game 2 will be Wednesday night in San Antonio. And speaking of the NBA playoffs, we have our very own USA Today sports intern, Ryan. Ryan, what's your take on the NBA playoffs first round here?
Oh, man, I love the NBA playoffs. It's my favorite time of year. The intensity level has just risen. I mean, these teams are hungry for a championship. I think the team that I'm really looking forward to watching is Kevin Durant's Oklahoma City Thunder. Kevin Durant's a D.C. native.
Gotta get that in there.
Had to get that in there, always representing for D.C.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been on a mission this year. He's the MVP favorite. He's what all the experts are predicting that he'll win the award in a landslide. LeBron James is a close second. As you know, he's won 4 MVPs already. But Kevin Durant's really elevated his game, averaging 32 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. He's shooting 40% from the three-point line, 50% from the field, almost 90% from the free throw line. So he's really doing it all for his team, and he's just put that team on his back. Westbrook has missed around 27 games this year to his constant knee injuries. But he's back, and they're looking scary. They were up about 25 points to Memphis, the team they're playing in the first round of the playoffs. Memphis made a comeback and cut the lead to 2, and then Durant and Westbrook turned it back on. And when they're on, I don't know if anybody can beat them.
And Westbrook and Durant's relationship has been good. People had questions about that,
Right.
but it seems like it's been good.
Yeah, it's weird. People like to measure their relationship based on who gets the most shots, who plays the quote unquote Batman role. Batman versus Robin. Batman was the leader, obviously, and people like to play that role. Who's this and who's that? But I think people really gotta they're a two-man, they're a duo. It takes both of them to get
they're partners.
Right, they're partners in crime, and they
Like
need
Batman and Robin.
right. They need both of them to get to the level they're not going to get to the championship without Westbrook, and they're definitely not going to get to the championship without Durant. So I think when you just look at the team, when they're hitting on all cylinders and they're playing on both sides of the ball, defense and offense. I mean, offense is not an issue for Kevin Durant as he scores 32 points a game. But if they're hitting on all cylinders, they're scary, and they're the team that I picked to go to the finals and win the finals ultimately. So I'm really
we got to get to the Wizards though, because we don't have that much time.
Okay.
So the Wizards.
Get carried away.
The Wizards. So 5th seed.
Yes.
People talk a lot of smack about the Wizards.
I know.
What are your feelings?
They're not the same old Wizards. They came out in Game 1 in Chicago, and people, a lot of experts picked them to lose this series. And while one game isn't guaranteeing they'll win, it's a good 77% of the time, the winner of Game 1 goes on to win the series. It's big for the city of D.C. I mean, the team has just been terrible for so long, and to see John Wall getting an All-Star, and Nene really, he's been out for 21 games. He came back. He looked a little rusty at times, but last night he did not look rusty. He really came to play. 24 points, 8 rebounds, few assists, a couple key steals down the stretch, and he's really looked the part. I gotta love the big Brazilian.
The big Brazilian.
Yes.
Okay, and thank you very much for talking to us about sports today.
Of course.
Coming up after the break, we hear from DC runners about their thoughts on the Boston Marathon.